I cannot believe that the dream that I once set for myself has become a reality. Medical school starts tomorrow, Monday, August 24th, and I am excited. Okay, I'm excited. Orientation just wrapped up. We did orientation for a whole week. Just to preface this, the nursing students at my school did orientation for one day. Okay, graduate students who were in the biomedical science department, they did the orientation about a day or two as well. So that should put into perspective how much time we had to put in. And this was 8 to 5, okay? This was 8 to 5. And that was a lot. Lots of information, lots of sessions, lots of practical stuff that they had us do, some simulations. It was wonderful. It was actually surreal, but it just was very difficult to sit at the same place and sort of listen to the same repetitive information over and over and over and over again. Pardon me, I have a little bit of a cold, but I definitely owe this to myself, my future self, because I want to reference back. Here today, I'm going to talk about how I plan to study in medical school. So let's get into it. My name is Benedicta Ajamaya Brento. I am the host of My Planet Self podcast. If you've never been on this never been on this podcast, welcome, okay? This is where you want to be. I talk about a variety of topics. I bring my friends here. I force them, actually. Some of them, they come, they talk, and then they enjoy it. And I'm actually also so happy to just talk. So, yeah, let's talk more. If you listen to my previous episode, you know what I talked about. I talked about beauty and the nature of having to sort of fear or feel overwhelmed when you have gotten something that you've prayed for in the past. Medical school is an example. You prayed to go to medical school, and then now, like, all of a sudden, you're scared. Like, oh my God, this shit is really working. Like, it's really happening. Yeah, I mean, I just can't describe the feeling. The feeling is just indescribable. Now, a lot of people, whenever we start orientation, a lot of people have told us the resources, giving us all of the advice that we should do. But today, I am going to tell you what I think and how I plan on studying. Disclaimer, this is not an advice to you if you are starting medical school. This is simply what I, emphasis on I, individually plan on studying. I actually haven't even had my first real day of class yet. This is just a play game here, okay? This is just what I'm going to do. And one thing about medical school, and people will tell you constantly, that it's all about figuring it out, and you will figure it out. And it's such a bad answer sometimes when you first start about, that's all you can do. But come back in later time when I am midway or a quarter way or 3/4 way into M1. We can talk about how exactly things worked, whether the plan worked, whether it did not, and all of the things in between. So let's get into it. All right, now before I move on and talk about how I plan to study, I kind of want to talk a little bit about how I studied in the past. As you all know, in order to go to medical school, you do have to take the MCAT, and MCAT is pretty standardized. It also follows sort of the same footsteps as the other standardized tests you would take in medical school. So the study strategies that I adopted, in fact, I have a full episode dedicated to this. You can scroll down on my podcast page and go listen to it. I provide lots of wonderful, helpful tips. But just to sum it up right here, I definitely used Anki for the psychology, sociology part. I also used Anki for the chemistry part. I used it for biochem part as well. That was great. I utilized a little bit of note taking as well, and of course practice questions. So that was interesting, and it was quite different from how I would typically study. Honestly, not really. I think in college I would actually write things on the board a lot more and try to teach myself, and that really was helpful. I didn't really do that in the MCAT studying unless I needed to. Studying in undergrad was smooth sailing. I enjoyed every bit of it. I took calculus 1 through 3, got A's in all of them. I loved math. I loved organic chemistry. I got A's in both classes. I ate them all up. And for organic chemistry, for example, like, it truly needed to take practice tests, and also you want to understand the concept. So that was one thing that I enjoyed a lot, and it quite transferred to my MCAT study. Honestly, the orgo part, I didn't study much on that particular thing. What I mean, I didn't study much. I mean I didn't go back to square one to like study all the concepts again, because I still remembered it from uni, which I loved. The study habits that have worked for me that I enjoyed was keeping up with my Anki. Anki is hard to keep up with. There are so many cards, so I did that. What didn't work though was truly trying to rewrite notes and reading books completely to study. That's not a good way to study. You don't want to do that, okay? Because you want to actively study, and that's how your brain engages with the material, and it allows you to understand the content in a better context. Okay, do you hear what I said? When you learn actively, it allows you to understand the content better in a good context, in a context that is suitable for you and for whoever is testing you. So don't forget that there's context in every single thing. Passive studying, which means just casually reading things, not asking yourself questions when you're reading those things, not engaging in asking why that particular sentence is there, all of that is a passive studying, and it's not something you want to incorporate in your studying. So I'm glad I did very much from active studying a lot more. Definitely want to go into M1's not changing my study style, but more so sort of like making it a little bit crystal clear, making it crisp, and sort of making it efficient instead of just merely the MCAT. MCAT was a lot, and I always say it is some sort of character development, but with the amount of volume that we're starting medical school with, I feel like you definitely have to approach it in a manner that it will be beneficial. It will not cause too much like sort of stress to you, because you can't go to medical school and take exams and this and come back home and be stressed. We're not doing that. And a lot of people emphasize during orientation week, during the M2s, M1s that we spoke to, they're like, just be okay with adaptability, be okay changing your mind, be okay changing your study habits, because you never know what works for you. What works for you in organic chemistry in undergrad may not work for you in histology and biochemistry in medical school. So it's just being open, being flexible, being able to understand the limits and sort of like how to get over certain things, how to get over one study methods and move on to the next. I think that is a skill that you need to go into medical school. Now let's talk about the 3 philosophies that I am going to adapt when I am in medical school. In fact, I think I did adapt these in my MCAT studying as well. But we have the learning phase, and we have retention phase. Oh my god. We have the application phase. So learning phase, retention phase, and application phase. And so many things go on during these phases. Can you tell me what comes in your mind when you just see the name learning phase, application phase, retention phase? What occurs in your mind? I want you can pause this part and just come up with an answer. I actually want to see if you have an answer that is similar to what I am going to say right now. So the first phase, we have the learning phase, and that is just the source of the information. It could be your in-class lectures, it could be Boards and Beyond, it could be YouTube videos, it could be med school coach, it could be sketchy, it could be anything you put your mind to. Typically, these resources offer you the information that you need. So for biochemistry, for example, they will actually provide the videos, and they will show you that you need to learn about the Krebs cycle and give you all of the citrates and all of the enzymes and all of the catalysts, all of the cofactors. They'll give you all of that information. But that doesn't mean you understand the content, okay? When you learn it through these sort of resources and through these we call it, medical school students call it third-party resources. That doesn't mean you know it. You may have remembered that one enzyme they mentioned, but you don't remember the whole picture, and you certainly do not have it memorized. You certainly do not understand it. So how do we make sure that we get the information that we just learned from that third-party resource? How do we get it to stick in our head? Okay. You want to get it to stick in your head by making sure that you utilize software and you utilize things that you would not normally do. Okay. You want to sort of have like a repetitive, attraction to certain things. I mean, repetitive meetup. I don't know how to like frame it, but basically you can utilize those things like Anki. You want to say active recall, and active recall, you can do that through multiple ways. Okay, you can speak to yourself, talk to yourself, try to remember the content. Space repetition, you can talk to yourself multiple times of that content and see if you understand it. You can also get space repetition through Anki, because the more you see the card, the more you see the information, the more you are more likely to learn. There is also this point where you will have a frequent review instead of relearning everything before an exam, which is what we talked about. But you just want to get multiple exposure to the learning material before your exam as much as you can. Now, assuming that you did really well, you retained the information, congratulations, we need a clap for you, hooray! Now, how do you apply the information? You used Anki to retain it, you used active recall, you taught yourself, you taught your friend, you used spatial repetition. Now, how exactly are you planning to apply that said material? And a couple ways to do that is just to do practice questions. You also want to identify certain gaps, and that comes from practicing questions, because if you practice the questions and you get some wrong, that means clearly you don't know it. And if you don't know it, there's a gap. And if there's a gap, you gotta fill it, because then the exam scores will fill it for you and they will fail you. Okay? You always want to make sure that you're reviewing your weak areas, and all of that is also applying the material that you have learned. Now, what does a bad study technique, study strategy, what does it look like? A bad study strategy that I think people adopt is just, looking through the slides, making some notes, and leaving it there, thinking that they know it. But if you don't go back the next day to try to remember what you did yesterday, it's a waste of time. You don't want to do that. That'll waste your time. And you definitely don't not want to watch any video knowing that you can't pay attention. You want to watch things, especially things that contain important information, like things that will appear on your test. You need to pay attention to that. And that means setting time aside, strict time aside, and watching that video. And I tend to do that sometimes, thinking that you can watch video and watch Netflix and wash your dishes at the same time. That won't work. You don't want to adopt that, okay? That's not a good plan to make. So, being on that, now I'm going to talk about what I'm actually planning to do and how I'm planning to handle medical school. I definitely want to attend lectures the very first day. Yay me, I'm actually so happy. You guys, I'm a frequent school goer. Yes. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna attend classes on Monday. Class actually starts at 8 a.m. But what's funny is that I actually have to leave this house around 7:10. I have to get to the parking lot, take the shuttle, and then walk to school. I'm pretty sure going to class live, that'll probably disappear maybe week 4, week 5, but we'll see how it goes week 1. I will definitely give myself time to determine whether I would like live or asynchronous better, but I definitely would prefer whatever works for me, because like I mentioned, I'm gonna see whether week 4 or 5 if I'm still feeling the live lectures, and if it really helps me sort of like not waste time necessarily, because the commute time makes it even longer, but if it helps me retain to where I don't have to restudy multiple times, come back, and if it helps me genuinely, then I'm gonna keep it. I also want to focus on understanding the concepts rather than transcribing everything that is just said by everyone. I don't want to sort of depend on Anki solely without understanding the content. I do not want to depend on a fellow friend without actually understanding the concept. It's always good to try and understand it yourself. And trying to review materials multiple times and reviewing it before and after. Thankfully, my school has this like sort of pre-class assignment that you can do. You can study it alongside the slides. You can do that separately. Either way, it depends on you. You just have to do it, and it's helpful as well. Now, I'm gonna try my best to utilize objectives. I was not big on using objectives in college, but this time I feel like it's very necessary. And once you're able to solve sort of like the objectives, the questions and the objectives, you understand what the teachers intend you to know for the exam, and that I kind of need because it's not something that you can just wing and just pass the exam. So we do have quizzes weekly, but it's possible to pass those quizzes and then fail the midterm, and that I'm hoping it never gets to that point. Now let's talk about Anki as another way to retain information. Anki is one of those sort of softwares that it's godsend. It's such an easy and lazy way to get shit done. And I was literally telling a friend yesterday, because it's like you could be at a beach, you could be shaking your ass in a yacht in a thong, and you could be doing your Anki, okay? Because it is that relatively sort of low vibration, low vibe. You could be doing it on a walking pad, on a treadmill. It is a good use of your time, killing 2 birds, in fact killing 5 birds with 1 stone, because you'll be doing cards and just having fun. But the thing is, it actually once it works for you, if it doesn't work for you, you truly have to work 2-3 times extra hard to kind of figure out what works for you when it comes to active recall and spaced repetition, because you just don't want to be that person who sort of like, I don't know, who just don't know how to do Anki, neither does he know how to figure things out when it comes to making sure that things stick in your head. So if Anki doesn't work for you, you can try something else, something like speaking, teaching someone, doing study groups, practice questions, something that will truly make your heart happy and make you understand that you truly know the material. Also, if Anki is not working for you, it's not working for you. Do not force yourself to like Anki because it's Anki and because it's like a slow burner type of thing in a relationship. No, okay? Get your reviews done early, but most importantly, never worship it. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It just may take a little time to figure out what works for you, but you also need to take the time in order to be successful. And if you don't, people will just go ahead of you and you may fail your class. Okay, now let's see. You want to make sure that you're doing cards without understanding. You don't want to do cards without understanding the cards itself. That's why it's not advisable. It's not recommended to do cards even before you study, you touch the material, you watch the video, because then you're just clicking things in the air. It's a waste of time. You don't want to do that to yourself, okay? And you want to make sure that your recall is quality. If you do see a card, try your best. Even if you've seen it before, try your best to recall it without having to just think and just guess. I feel like guessing just doesn't work out. So yeah, let's move on to utilization of practice questions to apply concepts. Practice questions are an excellent way, and in fact it actually can precede Anki if you do it well, because it gets you just exposed to certain things, how questions are asked and how people who write those tests frame it that way. It allows you to sort of understand things in a different perspective, in a different picture, in a different manner. So practice questions definitely is going to be one of the things that I adapt. I do have a big folder that a friend shared to me that has all the UR questions, it has the answers, it has explanations, even in the foundation courses. So I'm going to try and do that, maybe 10, 15, 20 questions, not that 20 questions a day, but like by the end of the block, I definitely have had done maybe a good amount. Practice questions that our professors give us, I'm going to try and utilize that as well. I think that would be helpful, that would be wonderful, that would be phenomenal. Now, the most important part about medical school is the standardized test, and you kind of have to understand the context. And if you get a question wrong on that said practice test, it's very important to sit back, my sister, and review the tests. Review why you got it wrong, what happened, what was your thought process, and that will help you understand. And I mean it when I say understand the concept. And once you understand the concept, you know to never pick an answer or an answer similar to that answer ever again. Okay? okay? Also, use missed questions to guide you what you can review next. That is example of finding gaps. You get it wrong, you find the gaps, you now go watch a video, come back to the review later, and then you see what you are getting right and wrong. Okay, now you want to use other resources and see if it works for you as well. I am going to try and utilize other third parties, especially that I've heard are staples in step 1 preparation. Pathoma is an example, and the last time I was asking someone how I could incorporate Pathoma in P1 studies and said chapter 1. So I'm gonna try and read that as well as other outside resources. And one thing I'm scared and I'm hoping not to do is one of those things. There's this term called resource overload. I'm not finna wait for people to sort of I don't know, just keep telling me things, and when they keep telling me, I want to try it so bad. I want to try Anki, I want to try Boys and Beyond, I want to try med school coach, I want to try this, osmosis. That is a lot of things. So I think I might just not do that at all. Also, it's important to prioritize my school curriculum. I think that works out, especially when, but I think I definitely see that some MS2s at my school, now they don't prioritize school per curriculum, especially when it comes to what's being taught in the school. So I don't know, maybe that may change. It depends on my preference. Once again, preference matters a lot in medical school. Don't just be like, oh, I don't think I have any preference. You do, and you should follow it. Don't just listen to what everybody's saying. You have a preference, follow your heart, follow it. Also, third party materials should be used to reinforce material, should be used to clarify things that you have, the questions that you have, all of the things that will allow you to pass your exams are all great ways to utilize third-party resources. And let's not forget their impact on the step exams, especially step 1. You need these books, you need them, especially sketching for books and books. And these things are mad expensive too. So let me actually take a look at my first week of medical school. I'm actually gonna probably walk you guys through my schedule a little bit. Monday, for example, I have class at 8 o'clock, okay? And I have, what do we call it? Let's see. So I have class at 8 o'clock. I have another one at 9 o'clock. I have one at 10. I have a little bit 15-minute break. I have 10:45. I have one at 11:30, and then I have another one at 1 p.m. And then my last one complete. It finishes at 4:30. So this is straight 8 to 5, you guys. 8 to 5. And it's like you ask yourself, where do you fit in studying? For me, on this day, I plan, since I won't have any Anki reviews to do on Monday, I'll probably do them after classes. So I blocked out study time, which is strict, from 5 to 8 p.m. I also don't want to lose my gym time, so definitely will be an adjustment. But everyone knows this. Everyone knows P1 is an adjustment, so we'll see how that goes. But I definitely do plan on staying on campus, finishing my reviews, and hopping on the bus, hopping in my car, coming back home straight to getting ready. Well, I'll try and get into some hobbies and practice my DJing a little bit, but that's what I'm planning to do. The next day, I'll do some Anki reviews, maybe early in the morning, if not after class. But definitely the goal is not to sort of stay behind. During the school day that we have required, of course, go to the required, review them. If there is prep work to be done before, do them before. I think it's definitely, don't look like you're unprepared. You don't want to do that. So yeah, there are a couple of things that are important to me. I do not want to pull all-nighter, period. Even if I am behind 50 times, which it will never get there. But I'm not doing it all night. It's like once you mess up your sleep schedule, once, it's over. It's wraps, okay? It's wraps. So I'm not doing that. Maybe I'll go to sleep early, wake up earlier, study. I really enjoy that part of things. When we're in school at uni, people would wake up earlier, and I think that was really helpful, especially so that you don't have to study every time after class is just done, because at that time you're exhausted. So I think trying to front load the studying before classes would be helpful. So I'm gonna try that out. Definitely want to try and be better with meals. I'm so bad with food, and I need support. Definitely need to also sustain my relationships that I have around here, my hobbies, DJing, podcasting, and just sleep in general. I think it's been helpful to just sleep better, because when you don't sleep, your whole day is ruined pretty much, because you be yawning and then it's not like your day is ruined. Like, you could still do stuff, but it just doesn't feel comfortable. And some days will be required more. Of course, some days I'll go to sleep at 11 p.m. But the most important part is that I don't pull an all-nighter, okay? I definitely want to have a cutoff about 9 p.m. Initially, it was going to be at 6 p.m. I don't think 6 p.m. is possible to have a cutoff at that time. Maybe it is if I'm able to get through the material fast enough. But you don't want to go through fast and leave the understanding part out of it. You just don't want to do that, okay? Now, I'm going to actually try and utilize the 80-20 mindset. What is the 80-20 mindset? How I plan to see it this way is I'm going to just figure things out. We know that there's going to be way too much information to treat everything, equally, especially when it comes to classes. So it's important for me to figure out what the foundational concepts are. And as it stands now, I don't know what those are yet, but I'm pretty sure I can ask the professors. I can ask them questions like, what do I absolutely need to understand here, so that I can pick my battles. You can't know everything, but it's good to know what you can and know what you have to know. Then I'm gonna just build the details around there. So like we have an MS2 that sort of describes this, like learning medicine in like a circle. You pick one thing and then you gradually go outside of it in order to cover the full circle. So I definitely think that building details around what I absolutely need to understand will be very important. And I'm just not gonna spend 45 minutes obsessing over one tiny fact or one tiny question. That is a waste of time, especially when you have a bajillion things to learn. Baby, don't do that. And I am not going to do that. It's also important to learn to recognize diminishing returns. Do you know what that means? That means that spending more time learning something just to come out and you recognize that you just didn't learn anything. You want to limit that and recognize when that's happening, because sometimes you're studying more doesn't mean you're studying efficiently, and you don't want to be one person to put yourself in a box just because you just spend so much time on one particular concept. That is not a good thing to look at this. Now let's talk about the part where I'm most nervous about. The part that I'm like, oh my God, it is here, it's coming, it is real. Okay, now I've always questioned, can I keep up? I've had the thought, but will Anki still work for me, even though it worked for me with MCAT? Especially when the volume changes, will it still work for me? Will I prefer to go to classes in person or utilize the asynchronous lectures? Will I really, really, really shut myself down after 9 p.m.? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's more so about being flexible. How exactly will I know when I've studied enough, And how will it feel, especially when you have this fear of seeing classmates studying differently more than you are, or you're studying a type of way but you're not retaining it, and you see other people understanding it more than you do? How exactly? That's nerve-wracking. Okay, that's nerve-wracking. We're all studying the same thing, but turns out some people got a smarter brain, okay? And you gotta pick your battles. That's why the 80-20 rule is very important. But these are some of the things that I'm nervous about. I have already spoken about the things that I do not want to sacrifice. Sleep is one of them, taking care of yourself, relationships, having interest, and my podcast, and all of these other things. Now, becoming a physician is a huge part of me. I've always wanted this. It feels real this year. I'm excited as to school starts. Orientation was a blast. I enjoyed it. I hated the sitting all day part, but everything else, just great things. Now I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna see how it works. We're gonna try this and see how it works out. Thankfully, all of the MS2s sort of resonate. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna do all of these things. It's gonna work out for you. So yeah, hopefully you guys come back and I'll be like, yes, you guys, this is how I set out study, and that's how I eventually did. Who knows whether I will truly be able to keep up with Anki. It's possible that I'm back and I'm like, you know what, guys, I couldn't keep up with it, which is possible, which is okay. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to do things. So yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. My next episode which will be in the future somewhere, would be me going back and reflecting on this very episode that we just did. For my next one, I will actually have a special guest. Okay, you need to tune in. You will love it so much. So yeah, don't forget that it's important to dream big. It's also okay to feel, nervous but excited. It's okay to try new things. It's okay to be adaptable. That's all life is about. I'll see y'all later. If you got to this part, thank you. Leave a comment, follow the show, share the show, leave a review. I want to see all of it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, my name is Benedicta. Welcome to my Planet Self podcast. And I'll see you later. Bye.